The Garden by James M. Smith. For my wife, what a sacred privilege it has been growing our garden together. Jessie had a small plot of earth. It was lovely. It was near a stream of water and had many wild things growing in it. It had wild strawberries. It had wild blackberries. It had a tall walnut tree. What a perfect place to grow my garden, Jessie thought. I can eat the berries and the walnuts while I grow more plants. The tall walnut tree will give me shade from the hot sun and cover from the rain, and the lovely stream will give me water. Jessie went to work clearing the brambles and thistles and the ugly weeds that were not useful. It was hard work, and Jessie got hungry. Jessie went to the blackberry bush, but there were no blackberries on it. Deer had eaten his blackberries. Jessie went to the strawberry patch, but there were no strawberries. Rabbits had eaten all of the strawberries. And Jessie went to the walnut tree, but he could not find any walnuts. Squirrels had taken all of the walnuts away. Jessie said, I love the deer and rabbits and squirrels, but they're eating all of my food, and I'm hungry. Jessie decided to put a fence around his garden. He didn't want the deer, and the rabbits, and the squirrels to get nothing, so he put the fence next to the blackberry bush, where the deer could still reach some of the blackberries. And he put the fence close enough to the strawberry patch, where the rabbits could still get some strawberries. He made sure that there was still enough for him. What to do about those squirrels, Jessie thought. A fence won't keep them out. I know, said Jessie to himself. I will wake up a little earlier each day and collect some walnuts that will be for me. Whatever is left, the squirrels can have all they want. Jessie was very hungry that night when he went to sleep under his walnut tree. The next morning, Jessie woke up early, found some walnuts on the ground. There were blackberries and strawberries, too. Jessie had a good breakfast while watching the deer and the rabbits and the squirrels. Jessie went back to work, clearing the ugly, useless weeds with thistles and brambles. Later in the morning, Jessie's friend Dom came to visit Jessie's garden. Hello, Jessie, Dom shouted and let himself in through the gate. Hi, Dom, Jessie said. This is a great place for a garden, Dom said. It really is, Jessie smiled. Oh, strawberries and blackberries, Dom exclaimed as he saw the lovely berries. Dom helped himself to them, eating great handfuls. Save some for me, Jessie said. Of course, Dom said, while popping them into his mouth, one after the other. Dom stayed the rest of the morning, sitting under the walnut tree, while Jessie continued to pull the weeds. Dom would occasionally crack open a walnut, too. When it was time for lunch, Jessie went to his strawberry patch. You ate all the strawberries, Jessie said to Dom. Whoops, Dom said. Jessie found that all the blackberries were gone, too. Dom, you ate all the blackberries, too. My bad, Dom replied. Jessie went to the walnut tree, and all that was left was a pile of husks strewn about where Dom had been sitting. Did you eat all the walnuts, too? Now look here, Dom said angrily. "If you didn't want to share, you're not a very good friend." Dom stormed off toward the garden gate. Dom was not happy. He kicked the dirt and swiped at the blackberry bush, breaking some limbs. He grabbed some of the strawberry plants from the strawberry patch and pulled them up as he walked to the gate. Jesse was very hungry now, but there was no food left for him. Jesse thought. Dom has always been my friend, but he did not behave well in my garden. Now I'm hungry. Some of my plants are hurt. Jesse decided to put a lock on his gate so that people couldn't just open it and walk in whenever they liked. Then Jesse gently repaired the blackberry bushes and carefully replanted the strawberries in the strawberry patch. Because Jesse spent the afternoon putting the latch on his gate and tending his blackberries and strawberries that Dom had broken and stomped, some of those ugly, useless weeds with thistles and brambles started to grow back, but not as bad as before. Jesse went to bed hungry that night. The next morning, Jesse woke up early and found some walnuts had fallen from the tree. Some of his blackberries and strawberries had grown back. Jesse had a nice breakfast. Later in the morning, Jesse's friend Lyra came by. She knocked gently on the gate. "Good morning, Lyra," Jesse said enthusiastically, wiping his hands and going to the gate. "Good morning," Lyra said. "How are you this morning?" Jesse said, unlatching the gate. "Oh," Lyra said, "I've been better." "What's the matter?" Jesse asked, concerned. Lyra sat down under Jesse's walnut tree and started to tell him a story about an argument she had with her friend. While Lyra talked, she occasionally cracked open a walnut and ate it. "I'm sorry to hear that," Jesse said, but Jesse kind of started to wish he hadn't let Lyra in the garden. He wanted to get back to his weeding. "It's okay," Lyra said sadly. "What lovely berries you're growing," she exclaimed, and walked over to the blackberries and strawberries. "Yes," Jesse said, as he watched Lyra start to pick some. Lyra continued her story about how her friend had mistreated her and made her feel so awful. She would occasionally pick a strawberry or a blackberry and eat one. Jesse felt bad for Lyra, so he dared not ask her to leave some berries for him, though he was starting to get hungry himself. Jesse listened carefully to Lyra's story and asked, "What are you going to do about the argument with your friend?" "What do you mean?" Lyra said, suddenly became angry. "She was the one who was wrong. She was the one who was mean to me." "Yes," Jesse said, suddenly nervous. "I just wanted to know how you were going to deal with it." "I shouldn't have to deal with it." Lyra threw down the remaining blackberries she had picked, smashing them on the ground. "If this is the way you're going to treat me," Lyra exclaimed, "I'm leaving." Lyra stormed across the garden, crossing the strawberry patch as she did, stomping on the strawberries as she left. Jesse thought he should get back to work, but found he was terribly hungry. He went to the blackberry bush. Lyra had eaten all of his blackberries. What she hadn't eaten, she had smashed on the ground. He went to the strawberry patch, found that Lyra had stomped on his strawberries. Jesse went to the walnut tree and found only empty husks. Lyra had eaten all his walnuts. Jesse spent the afternoon caring for his strawberry patch and blackberry bush that Lyra had stomped on when she was angry. He went to bed that night, very hungry. The next morning, Jesse woke up early and found that some walnuts had fallen from the tree. He was very hungry, and they were delicious. Some blackberries had grown, and they were plump and juicy. There were strawberries, too. Jesse had a nice breakfast. Jesse started to weed his garden, pulling out the thistles and brambles and the ugly, useless weeds. Dom stopped by. Jesse had latched his gate so Dom could not come in. "Hey, let me in," Dom hollered. "I'm sorry, Dom," Jesse replied. "I'm working in the garden today and cannot visit with you." Dom was not happy. He told Jesse that he was being selfish, but as Jesse wouldn't come and unlatch the gate, Dom turned and left. Later, Lyra came by. She knocked quietly at the gate. "Can I come in?" she asked. "I'm sorry, Lyra," Jesse replied. "I'm working in the garden today and cannot visit with you." Lyra started to cry and asked if they were still friends. Jesse felt bad for her, but as Jesse would not unlatch the gate, she turned and went on her way. Lunchtime came, and Jesse was hungry. He went to the walnut tree and gathered a few walnuts. He was able to gather a few strawberries and blackberries too. As Jesse sat down for his lunch, he realized he was lonely. Jesse thought about his friend Dom and considered inviting him over. No, Jesse thought, Dom did not respect my garden. I cannot have him over anymore. Jesse thought about his friend Lyra and considered inviting her to a visit. No, Jesse thought, Lyra did not respect my garden either. I cannot visit with her anymore. So Jesse ate his lunch by himself. He was lonely, but the wonderful berries and walnuts made him feel a little better. When he had eaten enough, he went back to work, pulling the useless, ugly, thistly, brambly weeds from his garden. Since he didn't have to rebuild his fence, mend his latch, or tend the walnut tree and berries, Jesse made good progress pulling the weeds out of his garden. When Jesse's work was done, Jesse was hungry again. There were still some walnuts and berries for him. He sat down for a delicious supper. Jesse was lonely, but he was not hungry. He slept well that night, proud of the work he had accomplished that day. The next morning, Jesse woke up early and found walnuts on the ground and plenty of berries. Since the blackberry bushes had not been broken and the strawberry patch had not been trampled the day before, they had produced even more. Jesse had a nice breakfast. After breakfast, Jesse began to till the ground. Suddenly, Jesse heard his garden gate rattling. Dom and Lyra were at the gate. "Let us in," Dom yelled. "No," Jesse replied. Dom's demanding nature made Jesse feel uneasy. "Why are you being so mean?" Lyra cried. "The last time you were in my garden, you stomped on my berries and ate all my food," Jesse replied. "You're a terrible friend," Dom yelled. "You're being selfish," Lyra hollered. Jesse continued to work in his garden and did not respond to them. Eventually, Dom and Lyra stomped away. At lunchtime, He had a pleasant lunch of berries and walnuts. He thought of Dom and Lyra. Jesse felt lonely, but it was a beautiful day, and Jesse had work to do. Jesse worked the rest of the day preparing his soil for planting. Jesse enjoyed a nice supper of berries and walnuts. Jesse began to wonder whether he was being mean to Dom and Lyra. Should I have let them in? I'm very lonely. They destroyed my garden, but at least I wasn't lonely. As Jesse pondered this, he heard a knock at his garden gate. Curious, Jesse went to the gate and saw two people standing there. Hello, Jesse said trepidatiously. Hi, said the young man. I'm Andrew. Good morning, said the young woman. My name is Veronica. I'm Jesse, Jesse said. Can I help you? We happened to be passing by, said Andrew, and noticed how beautiful your strawberries are and how plump and juicy your blackberries were. We have tomato plants here and some cucumber vines, said Veronica. Would you like to trade some berries and walnuts for our tomatoes and cucumbers? Oh, said Andrew, you've prepared a place for plants. Well, this is perfect, exclaimed Veronica. Can we help you plant our tomatoes and cucumbers? Jesse was anxious, but he did like tomatoes and cucumbers. How many strawberries and blackberries would you like for them? Oh, just a few, Andrew said. We don't want to take them all, Veronica added. Just enough to eat today, Andrew said, and a couple to plant in our gardens, Veronica concluded. Okay, Jesse said. After all, he thought to himself, I've been able to nurse the plants back from Dom and Lyra's behavior. I should be able to nurse them again if anything happens. Andrew, Veronica, and Jesse went to work planting the tomato plants and cucumbers they had brought. At the end of the day, Jesse shared some of his berries and walnuts with them. They laughed as they talked, and Jesse found that he really enjoyed sharing his time with them. At the end of the day, Andrew and Veronica took some of Jesse's fruit with them, and even a small branch of the walnut tree. This will make a fine sapling, said Andrew. We can't wait to see them grow, Veronica added. Jesse said goodbye as Andrew and Veronica left. Jesse fell asleep, happy that evening. Over the next several days, Jesse welcomed Andrew and Veronica, who often helped him in his garden. Occasionally, he would visit them and help them in their gardens. Jesse's garden continued to produce more and more fruits, tomatoes, cucumbers, and walnuts the better he cared for it. Soon he had enough to share with many people and would host his new friends, offering them plenty and receiving what they brought. Jesse often spent his days peacefully tending his garden to ensure the weeds did not take over. He ate the great variety of fruits, vegetables, seeds, and nuts he grew in his garden and enjoyed sharing with his friends.